The Battle of Plassey. In the middle of the 18th century, Bengal stood as one of the wealthiest provinces in the Indian subcontinent. Fertile lands produced enormous quantities of rice and other crops, while flourishing trade brought in gold, silver, and luxury goods from across the world. The Nawabs of Bengal held authority over this prosperous land, but their rule was increasingly challenged by the rising power of the British East India Company. When Siraj-ud-Dowla ascended the throne of Bengal in 1756, he inherited not only the wealth of his kingdom but also a host of political enemies. Many of his courtiers resented his rule, and influential bankers like the Jagat Seth family doubted his ability to maintain stability. At the same time, the East India Company was strengthening its presence in Bengal. The company had fortified its settlement in Calcutta without the Nawab's permission, an act which Siraj regarded as open defiance of his authority. Suspicion and hostility grew on both sides. In June 1756, Siraj marched on Calcutta to punish the British for their disobedience. The city quickly fell, and the incident known as the Black Hole of Calcutta followed. Although historians debate the accuracy of the story, the British later used it as powerful propaganda against the Nawab. For the East India Company, the loss of Calcutta was intolerable. The directors in London and the company's leaders in India resolved to strike back. They turned to Robert Clive, a bold and ambitious officer who had already gained fame in earlier campaigns. Clive returned to Bengal determined not only to retake Calcutta but also to establish a stronger position for the company. What made this possible was the growing discontent within the Nawab's own camp. Many of Siraj's generals, including his commander-in-chief Mir Jafar, felt alienated and betrayed. Secret negotiations began between Clive, Mir Jafar, and the bankers of Bengal. A conspiracy took shape. If the company supported Mir Jafar's claim to the throne, he in return would guarantee them wealth, privileges, and favorable trade conditions. Thus, by the beginning of 1757, Bengal was on the brink of betrayal. Siraj-ud-Dowla, still young and inexperienced, could sense the disloyalty but lacked the political skill to suppress it. The stage was set for a confrontation that would determine the future not only of Bengal but of the entire Indian subcontinent. That confrontation would take place on the fields of Plassey. On the morning of 23rd June 1757, two armies faced each other near a small village called Palashi, anglicized as Plassey, on the banks of the Bhagirathi River. The monsoon rains had begun to sweep across Bengal, and the air was heavy with heat and tension. For Siraj-ud-Dowla, this was the decisive moment. He commanded an army of nearly 50,000 soldiers, supported by artillery and war elephants. Opposing him was a much smaller force of the British East India Company, led by Robert Clive, numbering barely 3,000 men, of whom only about 900 were Europeans, while the rest were Indian sepoys. By all logic, the Nawab's forces should have crushed the British with ease. But numbers alone did not decide battles. Behind the ranks of the Nawab's soldiers lurked treachery. Mir Jafar, the commander-in-chief, along with several other senior officers, had already pledged in secret to Clive that they would not fight with full loyalty. Siraj, unaware of the full extent of this betrayal, placed his trust in them, a decision that would seal his fate. The battle began late in the morning. Siraj's artillery opened fire with heavy cannons, forcing the British to hold their positions. Clive, cautious as always, did not immediately respond but waited for an opportunity. By noon, the skies darkened and a sudden tropical rainstorm swept across the battlefield. The downpour was brief, but it had devastating consequences for the Nawab's forces. Their gunpowder, stored in unprotected bags, became soaked and useless. The British, however, had carefully covered their ammunition, and when the rain cleared, their cannons roared back into action. At this moment, Siraj looked to his commanders for support, but Mir Jafar and others deliberately held back their troops, offering only the appearance of loyalty while avoiding engagement. Only a small portion of the Nawab's army, led by commanders who remained faithful, continued to fight, but they were no match for the disciplined volleys of the company's sepoys and the relentless cannon fire. By afternoon, the Nawab's army began to collapse. Confusion spread, and many soldiers fled the field. Siraj-ud-Dowla, realizing the hopelessness of the situation, abandoned his camp and fled towards Murshidabad. His vast army, which at sunrise had promised certain victory, now dissolved into chaos. Robert Clive, with his vastly outnumbered troops, had achieved an astonishing victory. The British casualties were minimal, while the Nawab's forces suffered heavy losses. The outcome was not merely the result of military skill, but of conspiracy, treachery, and the careful manipulation of Bengal's politics. These answers lie in Part 2, The Aftermath. To continue this journey into history, subscribe and stay with us for the next chapter. The story of Bengal, and indeed of India, was just beginning to change forever.